everybody, and welcome back to Touchline Banter, your favorite and the best footy podcast on the internet. I'm your host, Ruben Dario Chavez Jr., aka Ray Chavo, and as always, with me, my co-host, Shayan Karimi. Uh, it took us a little bit to start because we were talking about kits and all the kits we would buy. We went down
Spending money we don't have.
Yeah, exactly. If this podcast was paying us more, I would definitely have bought one of the shirts that we were talking about. But we're super excited. The season's just around the corner, Cheyenne, and I feel like it snuck up on me because we have the 2 episodes that we recorded that are not officially out, but will be out like this weekend. And I remember in that one of the episodes, I was like, yeah, like this is kind of my least. Like we're getting to the point where I just want the year to start. And you were talking about how much excitement's in the air for you because everything's possible, and like we still don't know what these teams are going to be, so you can kind of talk yourself into a lot. And now there's no time to talk yourself into anything. It feels like you got 1 week, and then it's back to living and dying based on the performances of 11 people who don't know that you exist. So how do you feel about that?
That's such an interesting way to put it. Like your entire week could be ruined because 11 people perform poorly, and like they will likely never ever know that you even like exist or were a fan of the club. I forgot who it was. It was someone on ESPN FC. I think it was Stevie Nicol. He was saying that like back now there's so many matches, so like if you lose on the weekend, there's some sort of European or domestic cup competition during the week that you can look forward to it. He's like, back in the days, like if you got like slammed like 4-0, you had to wait like a week and a bit usually. Until then, you just have to like hold it in. You're like, shit, this sucks.
Yeah, I made the same point on our thing, like that we haven't released yet, because it feels different. It's the same. Like that's why the NFL, for all of its like negatives, and like I do think culturally the tide is turning against people wanting their kids to play that sport. It's the one thing that it has over like every other sport, and I'm including like footy in that, because there was a time where the games were so scarce that everyone felt special, but now there's like almost like an avalanche of games, so like it's hard. And I mean, I think every team and club, like especially if you support like a major club, obviously for like lower league teams, or like if you're in the Prem but you're not in Europe, you still probably get a bit of this because like the domestic cup competitions don't start right away. There's breaks, whatever. But in the NFL, you just gotta live with it. If you see your team lose, like you got at least 5 days before you get to see them again to get that loss back and make you feel better. But we're not talking about the NFL. We're talking about footy, real football. The Premier League starts in a week from now. We are recording another podcast that will do our predictions just on what we think the Premier League season's gonna look like.
Nottingham Forest winning the league.
Let's go. We're probably also gonna touch on the Champions League, and we're a Real Madrid fans, so I think there's no way I'm not gonna give an overview of what I think the La Liga season will be, but that'll be kind of the heart of that episode next week. For today, bust out your conspiracy hats, because we're going to talk a little bit more about the conversation that we had near the end. Because is PSR real? I was told that when Man United lost that Europa League final to Spurs, part of the reason it was such a big deal, obviously like Spurs' first trophy, that was great, but for United, the fans wanted them to win for financial reasons. It was worth like 100 millions of dollars is what we were told, and that was going to directly impact their business in the transfer window. Did it though? They got Embuemo, they got Cunha, and now officially Fabrizio Romano, we got the here we go. Benjamin Šeško, rumored Arsenal target. He was linked to Newcastle, as we talked about, with Isak potentially going out the door, who we will also talk about the recent developments in that. But Benjamin Šeško, the attack of United is completely rebuilt. I guess the 2 things that come to mind right away. to ask you, Cheyenne, do you like this move? Like, what your opinion is on Sheshko, and if this move is positive. I guess it's hard to be negative about it,
Mm,
considering they finished in like 16th. Like any
yeah,
move is a good move.
yeah,
And the second thing is, I'm starting to wonder, not worry, wonder, like Bruno Fernandez, where does he fit now? That midfield
yeah,
is because
yeah,
like I
yeah.
in preseason the clips that I've seen, they've tried to play him deeper, and he's
Hmm.
looked a little bit out of his depth because
No,
he's trying
he
to
never
play those.
works. Yeah, he
He's
never
trying to
works
play
deep.
those hero passes, and he gets
Hmm.
dispossessed, and he's just not the physical person to come back. Like so, I wonder if you have a little bit of worry for that. But let's stick to the positives at first. Do you like this deal? I guess I don't know
Hmm.
if it's a positive, but like, do you like this deal?
Hmm. Yeah, just to backtrack a bit on your point, with United losing the Europa League, right? Yes,
Yeah,
it was a
Europa League. Yeah.
yeah, Europa League.
No, the Conference League
Um,
was Chelsea Betis.
which was a better game.
It was a much better game.
Um, yeah, so Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I don't know if people have watched. I don't know if you've watched. If you watched the interview he did with like Gary Neville, like this was like doom and gloom. We're cooked. We have no money. The tea ladies, the poor tea ladies, and like the people who get like the kits ready, and just the small to
Oh,
some
he's been
people
firing people left and right
yeah,
down the stretch of the
exactly.
season.
This
Like,
the small little roles that are really valuable and hold tried in tradition that especially in North America we don't understand, but in like British culture and just European culture and footy culture they hold a lot of like value. Everybody's gone. Everybody. If you make a wage basically and you're not like that like crucially needed, you're done. Thank you. We have no money. And it's doom and gloom. It's like we're screwed. The club's going under. Everything's screwed.
there were reports that even if they had won the Europa League, they wouldn't do a bus parade. They were gonna do a barbecue just for
Yeah.
like at the trade. Like they
I
were
remember,
trying to
yeah.
cheap out on everything. So
Yeah.
they were acting like they were broke, man. They were acting like they
Oh my
just paid
god.
rent like a week ago, and it's like, all right, I don't have money to go out.
Oh my god.
Going out
It's
is going to my backyard and eating a hot dog.
they were doing a barbecue in Jim Radcliffe's backyard to
Yeah, man.
celebrate whatever the hell they would need to celebrate. Um, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's all lies. Apparently, it's all lies. And it doesn't really make sense. It kind of does make sense to me. Like I don't know. I guess I don't. It's so tough to say because I don't want to just to feed it into like the salty Newcastle fans, the true Geordies of the internet, and saying stuff like this is it, this is the conspiracy, and to sum it up, it's basically that United will always have eternal and continuous spending power. Not just United, but the big six or the big
Yeah.
clubs that the clubs like Newcastle, Aston Villas, or just any new teams that come in with will not have. I don't really necessarily want to 100% feed into that, but when you look at the transfers that United have made and you look at the lack of or the players that are leaving Newcastle, aka Alexander Isak, it's tough to look at this and say like, yeah, like this is just like complete parity and everything is fair across the Premier League and there is absolutely no bias in PSR. We understand and we know, we talked about it last week, that there's always a bigger fish and there's always, teams control more like value between like shares in terms of TV and ownership and stuff like that and revenues and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, it's tough to say. When you read all the rumors, for some reason, which I don't really understand, as Sheshko apparently has wanted United. I've been looking at the Twitter post from Fabrizio Romano and other people, and apparently even Newcastle at a point offered more wages.
Yep, I saw that.
And Šeško still wanted United. The only reason that I would understand that he wants United is because he thinks that Isak isn't moving. And it's probably his representative told him, listen, like they're probably not moving Isak. They rejected one bid from Liverpool. Like Newcastle's going to just say, hey, listen, you have a contract. If you don't play, it's bad for you. If you force a move and we don't sell you, it's bad for you. So just stay at least another year or whatever it is. And that realistically, like when I look at the teams, I don't understand how you find Newcastle United a better fit and a better team to compete. Like just putting the PSR and the spending money aside.
Yeah.
When you look at which is a big thing to put aside, I get it. But when you look at the teams, I prefer Eddie Howe as a coach. I really haven't seen anything from
We don't know what Amarim is going to be, but
yeah,
like as it stands right now, Eddie
as it
Howe has
stands.
proven himself to be not just a good coach, but a coach that gets performances out of players and makes them better. Like he has made a lot
Exactly.
of players in that squad better.
Yeah. So just off of that,
I
I prefer
thought that Newcastle would be a great fit because he's a very physical player. He likes to mix it up, and that's a very
Mhm.
physical team with Joel Linton and Bruno Guimaraes in the
Guimaraes, yeah.
middle. Yeah, the that report did shock me, but at the same time, it's like it is that thing where it's like it takes a while for a team that had such history and that is so synonymous for winning to lose that
Mhm.
luster abroad. Like I think English players are seeing it now and they're like, "Okay, United's a basket case because they live in a country that United's being covered all the time. It's like whatever." Abroad, I wonder, like obviously people are like, well, we don't see them in the Champions League anymore. They lost the Europa League, but they probably still see it as like a great, it's like the same way that like Milan hasn't been a great team in years, but when you see the kit, like I'm sure in Italy, people probably have a lower opinion of Milan than people do abroad because abroad, when you see the kit, you can't help but think about Kaká, Maldini, like because we're not there reading the pages in the sport every day. We're not getting the day to day of the club in the same way that you do if you're in the country, or if you're like a fan of the team and you're just following every move. So there is just a chance that the badge, whatever,
Yeah.
or he's convinced by Amarim. Maybe he really buys into Amarim being a good coach because it has to be said if Amarim can deliver in what he's trying to bring to Old Trafford, that would be a team that plays an exciting brand of attacking football that would be fun to watch. Like that's
Mhm.
what Amarim is trying to bring to Old Trafford. Whether he can remains to be seen. It is crazy to me. Obviously, it's hard to not like the move because it's a number 9. I mean, if you're Hoyland, I
Yeah.
wonder how you're feeling because he
That
was really
that's that was right. That was the thing for me because I'm like, if you're Hoyland, if you're Xerxes, we talked about Liam Delap being like, okay, I'll just go like fuck myself if Isak comes in here. But
yeah.
yeah, but to answer your question, like, do I like the move for United? Yeah, I think I like the move for United because I think United has to. United is a mid-table team. We have established that. We have come to the conclusion that United is a mid-table team. That's where they are now. They're no longer top six. They're no longer top four. They're definitely not competing for the title. That's where they are now. And given where they are, they can't go for the big fish of the world of the Jokeres and stuff like that. No matter how much they're linked with it, I think we realize that like someone like that's likely not going to go there. So they have to go in for someone who is a project, is a person with a lot of potential, but everything that I hear and everything that I also see from his game, and you look at his stats and everything else, inconsistent. That's the biggest thing that I see with him is that him in that front three with Openda and Xavi Simons at RB Leipzig, you would think that that would be a much more prolific and much more goal scoring front three in the Bundesliga even, but it was very inconsistent from what I would see. They would, have possession. They would control the state of play in the game, but they wouldn't finish a lot, which is weird for me. And I guess it comes that he's young. Obviously, he's like the technical ability comes usually later into someone's career. Usually, their physical ability develops, and he has a strong. He's strong. He's decent in the air. Um, he's not slow, but he's not relatively quick. I would say like insanely fast, but he has a good like pace on him. So yeah, I mean, I think for United as a gamble and like for the money that they're paying, it's good. Because realistically, like Hoyland, what has he done? Xerxes, what has he done as well? I can understand for someone like Hoyland's perspective, he could be like, hey, listen, like, like give me a chance to prove it again. And maybe he does come good, but also at the same time, like, I didn't really see a lot of buzz for Hoyland when United signed him. It wasn't like so many teams were going after him. Um, yeah, it's good for United. At the same time, I think it could cause a problem for Bruno Fernandes because I think Fernandes in the three system that they play, I think he fits better up top as like an attacking mid. I don't think he's ever worked and will work in the deep lying role. Maybe you change formation. I don't know. That's one thing for me with Abiram. I'm like, dude, maybe it's kind of time to change formation, but also like United has just backed him and signed players that fit the formation with Umbuemo and Cunha.
Yeah, I don't think he's
So
changing the formation. The formation
no,
is gonna stay. It's
yeah,
just gonna we're gonna see who he puts where. Like, but he's
yeah,
not gonna.
yeah.
At the very
But I don't
least, if
know.
he's gonna change formation, he's gonna wait until for sure he
Yeah,
realizes these players can't do it. Like,
100%. I mean, to end it off, like Newcastle wanted him. Apparently, he was interested, and it was pretty close. Um, I saw this guy on Twitter from another like YouTube video I was watching, just talking about this whole saga. His name's Sasha Tavalieri. I'll post it. Basically says, as revealed Monday night, Leipzig indeed accepted Newcastle United's offer. Everything's ready to finalize the deal, and the player had given verbal agreement. Um, but ultimately he leaned towards Manchester United. So yeah, if I'm Newcastle, I'm pretty unhappy with that. And again, I think all the conspiracy theories are going. But Ruben mentioned it. Maybe it's the allure of United. I don't know. At the same time, I think United probably didn't necessarily need to invest in striker. I think defense and midfield was one. Like even
yeah,
someone like a
but they don't.
Palhinha.
But they don't believe in Xerxes
Yeah,
or
that's fair.
Hoyland. Like it's
Yeah.
clear to me. Like Emmerich can say what he wants, and obviously he's going to bring those players along. I don't think they're top of the list to get bombed out,
Mm-hmm.
but at the very least, this is him saying like, I don't believe either of you can start right away. Like you
Mm-hmm.
might be able to develop
Yeah.
into a player that can play and be a part of this team consistently, but I haven't seen enough for you to not want to spend this money. Because I
Yeah.
agree with you, it would have been. I don't want to say money better spent, but they could have shored up their defense, shored up
Mm-hmm.
their midfield a bit more, and that could have been just as important because since they've already gotten two new attackers. But
Buemo and yeah, I mean, just my last point on this, we talked about United being poor. They spend 65 million pounds on Buemo, 64 on Cunha. These are all in their top 10 of transfers ever. I don't know what the conversion of 85 million pounds to euros to pounds is, but it's probably up there. So for a team that says they're poor and they have no money and they got to fire all the tea ladies, it's really not making sense. And
yeah, Jim
I don't know. I
Ratcliffe.
do kind of feel bad for Newcastle fans, and I'm really wondering where the Isak thing goes. But what are your thoughts? Like, do you like the move, and how do you think
Yeah,
it affects Newcastle? I guess as well.
I really do. I think I'm going to use this thing to transition just to talk to Isak because I think you hit
Mm-hmm.
most of the points that I was going to hit. Like, it is strange to me that Sheshko wanted United that bad, seemingly. They must have sold him on the project, or maybe he just likes the shirt. You do never know, right? Like players make these decisions for hundreds of reasons that they're not always going to verbalize to us. Um, unpopular opinion, I guess, on this podcast, considering what you said, but I think he might have a better season than Gyökeres
Okay, I,
because
I could see that in the advanced stats and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think he might score more goals. Like I'm
Okay.
saying that, like because if Arsenal don't get someone on the left, I'm really worried about how one-dimensional that attack could still be. And Gyökeres is not good in the air, and if Arsenal are going to do their little dead ball thing, he's not going to score as much. Like
Yeah.
I like honestly. And is Gyökeres going to take pens, or is Saka going to take pens, or is Declan Rice going to take pens? So that'll eat into his goal tally as well. Like I think Sheshko's going to have a lot better opportunities with players like Cunha and Buemo and Bruno Fernandes giving him the ball than he was at RB Leipzig. I know they dominated possession. I know RB Leipzig has some players, but Xavi Simons hasn't been at his best recently. Last season was kind of weird for him to the point where I don't even hear a lot of people really wanting Xavi Simons. Like a couple seasons ago, he was a hot ticket item to the point where people were kind of surprised PSG was kind of loaning him away and whatever. But now, I don't know. He's kind of his star has diminished to me at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
All this to say though, what this means for Newcastle, there's no way they can let Isak go. Like I'm sorry, like Liverpool sent an offer and it got knocked back. I genuinely think they have to be like, you have to give us like a world record transfer fee. It has to be like 150 million or more.
That's their
Like
asking. Yeah, they're asking 150 to rejected 120.
yeah,
So
which like I it had like they have to because You cannot sell this to the fans. Like, obviously, decisions aren't made for the fans, but just on a purely sporting level, if you take Isak out of that team, that is a worse team, and they need, like, they're playing Champions League this year. They need a striker, and the window is done now. Like, it's getting to the end. I will say they could try to get Jackson because it's clear that Chelsea want to get rid of him. They already have a bunch of strikers, so they don't need more.
But do you think that's actually a good replacement, like Nicholas Jackson?
I
Like,
don't
is
look. He's not as good as Isak, but I actually do think he's better than Chelsea have made him look. Like, I think.
okay.
Look, we're giving Chelsea a lot of credit. We did in the other episodes that, like, their strategy is working. A lot of, they're getting a lot of bites at the apple. Like, some of these young players are clearly, reaching their potential, and the ones that aren't, they're moving on. Whatever. I think that Chelsea's doing a lot of the same thing United's doing. They're just not getting criticized for it because their performances have held steadier. But, like, what's a player that Chelsea has really, like, brought in and improved that was a young player? Like, Cole Palmer, they gave a platform to, but that's a City graduate. Like, that's not their player that they grew. And then now it's Pedro and Delap that they're bringing in. But of that, like, youth movement that Lampard and Tuchel used to win the Champions League and stuff, like, none of those players are there anymore. Like, Reece James is there, but he can barely play three games in a row without getting injured. So
is he really there?
They're not really developing talent either to this extreme extent. And I think Jackson has shown that he has the tools to be a good attacker. So I actually think it's a good move, but I only think it's a good move if they get so much money out of this deal that they can get Jackson and maybe, if not a backup for him, like a younger kid that they take a flyer on, another high-level player at a position of need, whatever that may be. Like, you know what I mean? Because, or else it doesn't make sense. Like, Isak signed a contract. I know we're in the era of player empowerment. Shout out to LeBron James. Shout out to, like, whoever you want to credit, Kevin Durant. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, we're in the era that whenever a player makes a trade request, no one thinks, oh, they're not going to get traded. Everyone basically starts putting a timer on it. Oh, when are they going to get traded? Bleacher Report instantly starts doing fucking photoshops with every jersey they could possibly wear. And we forget the fact that, like, they're still on a contract. Like, yeah, Isak he could be like, you know what, I'm not going to play. And he could throw his toys out of the pram. Does that make him an attractive person to buy to other teams? Not really. If Newcastle play hardball, they're like, we're not going to sell you, and he just doesn't play. Who does that hurt more? Like, yeah, it's like a money sink. They're paying this player to whatever, but they'll probably, like, fine him and get that money back on the back end if he really does threaten to not play or show up to practice or whatever. So I think they have to keep him unless Liverpool blow them away with their offer. Like, I think 150 is, obviously they've said that's the starting point, but it could be 150 that could, like, if you hit certain things. Like, if you're a Newcastle, why wouldn't you put a clause? Yeah, it's 150, but it's extra if he wins the the Prem Golden Boot. It's extra if you guys win the Champions League. It's extra if you win the Prem. Why wouldn't you do that? This move, everyone's basically agreed, would almost make it impossible not to see Liverpool as the favorites to win the title. So if you're Newcastle, you're like, you have to pay for that. That doesn't come for free. But I don't know. It's Newcastle have to look out for themselves. As much as Isak's a great player, I like him. I enjoy him. I think he's awesome. I wish he would want to stay there because it's nice to have another team that's competitive. But obviously, if he went to Liverpool, it would probably send his career, like, to the moon. You know, if he was getting the service that I like this player, I'm sad. We're gonna talk about him in a bit. But if he was getting the service that Nunez is getting, he's putting a lot of those away. Like, he's not doing what Nunez was doing. So this could be a launching pad for him to take him to new heights, which I respect. But Newcastle can't kill their season in August just because Isak doesn't want to be there anymore. They just cannot,
Yeah.
unless they're getting compensated for that. They have to be compensated.
Yeah, it's so tough for someone in Newcastle's like position. I specifically feel really bad for Eddie Howe because he's constantly said like it's the board's decision, you know, like, and he's left it at that. I was watching another episode of ESPN FC, and then they were talking about it. They were like, because Eddie Howe basically said, um, any news that you guys have seen about Isak from the media is what I have seen. That's how I get the information. And then they were like, how is that the case? And then one guy in the panel was basically saying like, listen, as the manager, when you understand when stuff like this happens, when transfer sagas come in, you know, it's still your job to, you know, at least even text the player, call the player, and say, hey, Alexander, like, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Are you staying up with training? Listen, obviously, we still want you in the squad. Whatever happens, happens. If you leave, we wish you the best. If you stay, then perfect. We'll fight for everything. But then this other guy on the panel was like, yo, that's kind of wishful thinking because a lot of times when a player wants to move out, he doesn't want to talk to the manager. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He just tells his agent, yo, figure it out, deal with it, and that's it. I honestly think that deep down, I think he's done. I think he's gone because Newcastle have told him to train alone. They said on ESPN FC that apparently he's been told, like, when he does come to the training ground as well, to come after like the youth people leave or something like along those lines. So like they don't want him in contact with anybody in the squad. I really think they're just waiting for Liverpool to come in and give them their bid because I think it's kind of like the relationship is sour to the point of it doesn't really go back anymore. I don't know because like if he does go back, obviously like you walk into that locker room and all the players around there, there's a lot of Geordie guys there, like Dan Burn and everybody else who are like, you know, tried and true Geordies, hardworking, blue collar, and they're going to be like, yo, fuck this guy. Like, realistically, like, why should we welcome you back into the dressing room aside from like your talent and what you've scored in the past? Like, you don't want to be here. Why are you here? I do understand the arguments of like, for example, like before Ronaldo left to Real Madrid, apparently Ferguson said, hey, listen, like, give us one more year. We'll sell you the next year. And, like, they won a couple things that year that he stayed. It's so tough for me. When you look at, I pulled it up here, you know, I do agree with you to an extent that the rhetoric around Jackson probably isn't necessarily correct. I think he's better than he's made out to be. Because, according to the stat, in the league, the stats the last two seasons, Šeško, 64 games, Jackson, 65 games. Their goals and assists, 27 for Šeško, 24 for Jackson, and then 7 assists for Šeško, 10 for Jackson. So
yeah,
like,
and you would argue, and Jackson was playing in a harder league. Like it's
100%.
Like, so
100%. Yeah, and like his last season or the season before that was a really good showing. Was it last season or one before that? I can't remember.
The one before that.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe Šeško is. I mean, Jackson could be a good replacement, no matter how much I hear that Newcastle fans like don't really want him and they wouldn't be satisfied with something like that. I don't know. It's tough to say. I think we can transition because you mentioned Nunez. That is an interesting one for me of him going to Al Hilal. I understand the way like
just sad.
money works and all that kind of stuff. But let me ask you this question. This is what I thought. Would it have been a bad move if Newcastle are like, we'll give you
swap
Isak?
deal?
Exactly. Because I haven't been sold on Nunez, but I think he still has a lot to show.
You know what? And I actually I like Nunez. And speaking of what we were saying about Šeško, Nunez is a Uruguayan player, very physical. He likes to mix it up. Like he kind of fits the identity that Newcastle is building. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate that. I wonder if Liverpool even like floated it as a potential. Maybe Newcastle just also aren't convinced with Nunez. Maybe they didn't want to pay the wages. Maybe Nunez would have had to take a wage cut. I don't know. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. That would have been cool. I would have liked that a lot, actually. I would have liked that a lot.
I think they probably wanted the money, maybe from Al Hilal, and to cover, like, I don't know, but
maybe, yeah. There's a chance that Liverpool just wanted the money from the. Truthfully, that transfer makes me sad. Like to me, that's
it does. It does.
It kind of feels like that's the end of Nunez's career. Like
yeah.
And then that you know what, that's not 100% true, obviously. Like he can go there and come back, but I just like the level of competition just isn't the same. and it feels like at best he's going to stagnate and continue to be what he is, just in a worse league.
Mm.
And it looked like he could, yeah. But I guess like the tricky thing for these players is like, your career is so short, you want to maximize your money, and I doubt he's gonna get dropped from the Uruguayan squad. Like I can't think of another.
Yeah, realistically,
I can't think
who
of,
takes his spot?
exactly. Like I can't think of a player that's threatening him there. So if he goes to Saudi, gets his money, he's probably still going to be in the national team. Maybe he has a good enough World Cup next year, if they make it, that he puts himself back on the shop window and someone wants to buy him. Who knows?
Mm.
I like it's, but yeah, it's sad. That one's a bummer.
Yeah, like I'll never get mad at a player like for wanting to take care of his family and his kids and their kids and so on and so forth. But I'm like, I just don't understand necessarily. Yeah, just the career trajectory move. It's like, what, how did that make sense? Like, even going to, let's say, a Newcastle or another Premier League team that needs a striker, like, it wouldn't have seemed a little more like at least give it another shot. Or if you want to leave the Premier League, I get it. I'm
Yeah,
sure there was at least a handful of clubs that were
man.
looking at a Nunez.
Even going back to like, well, even going to like a Portuguese league or like the French league or Germany or Spain, like even if it's not one of the top clubs, like I think it looks better. Italy.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
like he really dropped off last season. I think that was the issue. Like his first season was good. It was inconsistent.
Well,
Apparently,
Klopp really liked him.
yeah,
That was a Klopp
yeah,
signing, right?
yeah. I think that was the case. So
And
40
Arne
goals,
Slot like probably was just
143.
kind of like,
Yeah,
you're not doing it. Right?
yeah,
Sorry, you can read off
yeah.
a stat. 40 goals.
Yeah, I was just saying 40 goals and 143 appearances across 3 seasons. It's like less than a goal every 3 games or something like that, I
Yeah.
think. So
But
it's
how often was he a starter? Like how many minutes did he play in those games? Like that's the context that.
yeah, he was a sub a lot from what I'm reading.
So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah,
It is a bummer for me because I really do like him.
yeah,
Like I really.
yeah. I really wonder where Newcastle go from there though, because like Nunez is leaving, Shesko is signed. Jackson is the only one who looks like it's
Jackson's the only one that makes sense.
like Ollie Watkins,
Yeah.
what's
But
what's the move?
again, like is Villa gonna sell Ali Watkins? They have barely bought anybody as well, and that's a team that
Mm.
was in the Champions League last year, tried to make a Champions League push this year, didn't get it, and now it looks like PSR rules are either preventing them from spending or their owners are scared to spend because people were thinking, oh, if they make it to the Champions League, they're gonna try to keep Rashford and they're gonna try to keep
Mhm.
not Isco. Who was the Asensio.
Asensio.
I know they had a Real Madrid player, but Isco was at Isco was
Mhm.
at Betis. Yeah, but they didn't end up keeping either one of them, right? Partly
Yeah.
because they didn't make the Champions League, but like you figured they they should have some money from just being a Champions League club last year, but apparently not. So are they gonna sell Ollie Watkins? I mean, if you're gonna sell truthfully, if Ollie Watkins wants to keep playing Champions League, and if Villa are going to sell him, want to sell him, this might be the last time you get maximum value for Ollie Watkins. Like, I do think it's getting to the point where he's getting older and he's going to be on the wrong side of that curve where you start to expect performances to drop off just due to like physical ability. It wouldn't be the worst. I like Ollie Watkins. I think he would fit. Jackson's probably more. I mean, maybe Newcastle fans don't agree, but to me, as an outside observer, Jackson would be more exciting just because he's younger and you still don't know what his ceiling could be potentially.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think they can't let go of Isak if they don't get a lot of money, and if they don't have. Like it's almost like they need to have the money, and then they also need to be like, okay, Chelsea, if we have like they have to be talking to Chelsea and Jackson at the same time that they're talking to Liverpool, and being like, okay, Liverpool, this is what we want. You have to give us it. We're not gonna not a penny less. and then I have to
Hmm.
turn to Chelsea and be like, "You're looking to sell Jackson. We're looking to buy." Then I gotta
Hmm.
talk to Jackson and be like, "Are you willing to come up here? You'll be the starter. We have to sell Isak, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera." This like whatever. They have to be having these three conversations at once, and they all
Yeah.
have to go correctly for me to think that it's worth doing this. Because or else, like,
Yeah.
hey, they could always try to loan Endrick. Maybe with a little cheeky Endrick loan to Newcastle. He gets to play
Yeah, it gets a little time to play it on the tune.
on the tune.
Yeah, I'm reading right now from it's from 2 hours ago from Fabrizio Romano, who again, according to the True Geordie and a lot of Newcastle fans that I'm reading on Twitter, he is in the pockets of the big 4 or 5 teams of the Premier League. I just had to say that because I found it kind of funny how like when a transfer doesn't start going your way as a team. It's like before, like this guy never gave two shits about Fabrizio Romano, but now since like he's constantly tweeting and he's saying that like Isak's gonna leave, he's like, "Fuck this guy, man. He's a puppet for the big teams in
Romano
the
does
league."
like he is annoying, and I know
A
Real
little,
Madrid fans
yeah.
don't like
Oh
him
yeah,
because
yeah,
he loves Barcelona. So I don't really.
yeah, yeah. I just find it funny how it's like you
It
never
is
had a beef
hilarious. It
before.
is
Yeah,
hilarious. Like
but anyway,
there's no way that the Newcastle fans hated for
yeah,
Fabrizio
it would,
Romano
yeah,
before he started reporting that Isak was gonna
yeah.
leave. There's just no
I'm
way.
I'm sure if you asked a lot of Newcastle fans, they'd be like, "Who?" But
Yeah.
anyway, apparently Liverpool maintained their focus on Alexander Isak for the final weeks of the summer window. New proposal ready to be submitted if Newcastle open doors to the move. Isak maintains his position, doesn't want to play or stay at Newcastle. He wants to leave and join LFC. One thing we didn't mention on the last podcast, and you did mention it now, just like you're saying, a lot of conversations need to be had for this kind of to work. That was what I was understanding as well. That it can't just be simple as they sell him to Liverpool, they make 150 million, let's say, off of him, and then that's it, and then they go buy someone. Because then other teams, for example, a Chelsea or another team that has a striker, is gonna be like, well, you just got all this money for Isak. We don't care that like you fucking Jackson's value is, I don't know, 65 million. Give us like 80, 90. It has to be like a domino effect of Jackson agrees, wants to go. They agree on a fair transfer fee. They say, okay, we got him. It's good. They agree on a transfer fee with Liverpool. We know Isak wants to go, and then that's the whole situation that happens. So we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see like what happens. Apparently, Newcastle are approaching for AC Milan's young defender Malik Tiao. I think you pronounce it. They need
Mhm.
people in defense, so that's good as well. Is there anything else specific you want to talk about, like transfers, or did you want to do like quick
Uh,
hits on like or
we could do
anything?
some quick opinions on some of the small ones, but
Yeah.
or not small ones, but like the less explosive ones, I guess is the way to
Hmm.
put it. I am interested to see how this Isak thing plays out.
Hmm.
Hopefully, it plays out in a way that does not seem supremely unfair for Newcastle fans. I did just get a Bleacher Report notification.
Hmm.
Chelsea are interested in Garnacho, so
Hmm.
if you wanted to know what if their transfer strategy was changing at all, it is not. They want to continue to buy young talent. So hey, man, Garnacho's good. And United fans definitely want to see the back of him because he has been trolling them seemingly online since the Europa League final, basically. Um, so good times all around. You know, a fun one because we obviously we live in Canada. You've mentioned him a bunch. We talked about him a bit. Jonathan David finally got his move, and I guess I wanted to ask you because I feel like you are a fan of Jonathan David. And last
Hmm.
year, around this time, we were having conversations if we thought that maybe a move to Liverpool, not Liverpool, to Arsenal would be good. If he could be an answer there,
Hmm.
we talked about him going to West Ham. We talked about any team that needed a striker. We basically were like, would he fit? Is it worth taking a flyer on? Et cetera, et cetera. He finally has his move. He's going to Juventus. Do you like it for his career? Do you like it for Juventus? Like, how do you feel? It's definitely a step up, no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
no disrespect to the French league, obviously, like PSG, Champions League winners, and Lille have been a good team. Lille, played Real Madrid really well, and David scored against
Yeah.
Madrid, so respect has to be given. But Juventus is a storied club again. Just because the old lady has fallen on hard times does not mean that it is not one of the little legacy clubs of world football. So, how do you feel about it for him?
I think it's a great move for him. Uh, when you looked at his performances, like in the Gold Cup, in the what was the name, Copa America, and just competitions in general, even last season, I think there was a question of whether he was fully ready for the Premier League. I think like you could see him going to like I don't know, not necessarily a top 14, but like a top 10 team. I think this is a good step up. I mean, Vlahovic seemingly hasn't worked or is dead on arrival at Juventus. I have no idea what's going on with him.
Vlahovic to Newcastle?
No, sorry, to Juventus. I mean, like
No,
he
no,
was
I
at
know,
Juventus.
no, 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 I know.
Oh, to
I'm
Newcastle.
saying,
Oh, I said sorry,
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
misunderstood.
it's okay.
Hey, on a cheap, get a guy who hasn't worked, maybe. Um, he played well in the Gold Cup, 2 goals, 1 assist in 4 matches. I think it's a good fit. You know, he gives me like the way his build is gives me like a taller Aguero, like low
Okay.
center of gravity, not slow, but has like a not blistering pace, but has like a quick step on him, and he can finish. Obviously, he's not the tallest, so he's not the best as headers. So, but overall, I think it's a good move. I think it's a good step up. The Serie A, I think, is a good place to go, especially because you play against teams that are very well drilled defensively. We know that the Serie A isn't what it used to be, but it's still a very well drilled defensive league. So overall, I like the move for him. Juventus are very much in a rebuild. They're still trying to find their path again after like a long time. You know, Andrea Pirlo being there and Ronaldo being there, and et cetera, and so many transfers not working. Um, I mean, for the landscape of Canadian soccer, I hope he does well. I hope he grows, and honestly, I hope this boosts him to potentially even get a Premier League move. Um, but I think he can do well. I just hope it doesn't stagnate his career because a lot of times, like you see players go into this the Serie A, the Italian league, and they seemingly like kind of just like either stay there or like never really come out of it for whatever reason. So I hope he goes on to bigger and better things after this.
It would be nice. Yeah, I think you hit a lot of what I would say. I'm interested. It's definitely a step up. They're playing Champions League football. They finished fourth last year, so there's definitely a platform. They're trying to build through their youth. They're trying to, like you said, like remake the team after what's happened. I was on Real Madrid's Reddit forum the other day, and it was a Juventus fan. There was a talk about Real Madrid transfers and stuff, and someone just kind of mentioned that they think Cristiano made a very big mistake leaving. That might have been the point of the post. I forget, but either way,
Okay.
this person was arguing that if Ronaldo doesn't leave, this part's crazy. But he's like, we would have won the next 2 Champions Leagues or something, or like we would have won 2 more with him, like in like the 2019 20. I was like, that's you're projecting a lot, but sure,
Mm,
maybe. Um, and then was like, and Ronaldo probably has like another Ballon d'Or or two, and ties Messi for the Ballon d'Or, so it like changed his career. But a Juventus fan kind of chimed in and was like, "Yeah, like the transfer was a bad idea, even though he played really well for us, and it's not his fault in particular. It's just like he wasn't the fit for what the team really needed." And he's like, when COVID happened, like originally when Ronaldo was going to go, that they promised him to sign players and to try to build it up, and some of the signings just didn't work. But also COVID hit Juventus harder than a lot of other clubs, and blah blah blah. So they're still kind of recovering from that because they paid Ronaldo a lot of money, and it never really hit the heights that they wanted it to, unfortunately for both parties involved. So it'll be interesting, David. Again, if Canada's national team is going to start to make noise and continue to grow in the trajectory that it has, their players have to be playing in these top leagues. So I'm kind of with you. I hope that it provides a platform for his career. I hope that he plays really well and maybe gets himself a move to a prem club.
yeah.
Great. And if
I had a
not,
fun. Yeah, go. Sorry.
no, no. And if not, and if he wants to stay in Italy, I hope that he just continues to push himself to be uh, better, right? The worst thing you can do is kind of rest on your laurels.
I had a fun question I wanted to ask you because I saw this on. I was watching this video and I just saw it because I saw the transfer move announced. Maybe we can end off on this depending on time.
Yeah,
So
we're at about
yeah,
46 minutes. That's a good place.
Okay. Yeah, so we know that Thomas Muller and Heung-min Son are going to the MLS.
Yeah.
I guess we kind of know how we feel about the MLS. It's good. The league is what it is. It's growing. It's becoming more relevant. We understand that these big players like the Messis and the Millers and the Sons and whoever else like to go there. Focusing specifically on Heung-min Son, I think this is an interesting question. I actually would like you to pose this question to your friend Jake, who's a Spurs fan.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you already asked me this question, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Do you think Heung-min Son has one of the best legacies as a Tottenham player, and does he leave a better legacy than like Harry Kane?
Yeah,
Because he won a trophy.
He did ask me this question.
Okay, perfect.
Because he asked who is a bigger Premier League legend, Kane or Son, and who's the bigger Spurs legend. And my first response literally was like, I mean, a Premier League legend has to be Harry Kane just because of his goal scoring record, et cetera, et cetera. But I was like, the Spurs one, I was like, I feel like your answer means more than mine because I don't really care. Like, I can see it through my view. But I think Son is clearly the bigger Spurs legend. Like, I was listening to the Football Ramble because this question has been going viral everywhere. It feels like everyone's weighing in on who's the bigger Spurs legend now that he's left. And the Football Ramble boys were making the argument that it kind of still has to be Harry Kane just because of like the amount of oxygen that Harry Kane kind of took when he was there. But I think that they're also looking at it from an English bias because one of the things they mentioned was like, Harry Kane was in the England team and he was captain, and that means a lot to these clubs. I'm like, sure, but that's not what we're talking about. And not everybody that supports Tottenham lives in Tottenham anymore, and not everyone that supports Tottenham may care about the national team to that degree, right? Like, there are plenty of people who support their national teams more than their club teams, that they're like, you know what, if my club team doesn't win, that's okay, I want the national team to do well. And then there are people who famously are like, I could give a fuck about the national team, I want my club to do well. Like, it happens. So I don't think it's very binary like that. And I think the fact that Son did stay and that he won that trophy means that you kind of have to consider him like more of a Spurs legend. Like, Harry Kane scored a lot of goals. He's the number one goal scorer in Tottenham's history. He was almost the number one goal scorer in Premier League history. Probably would have been if he didn't leave to Bayern. But he did leave, and he left to try to get a trophy. That's why he left. He didn't leave because he didn't want to be in Tottenham anymore. He didn't leave because he wanted to experience a new culture. He's the most English person you've ever seen. Like, do you think he really was chasing German cuisine? Like, no, he just wanted to win a title. However you feel about that,
German cuisine.
well,
no, I laugh because I was like in a small German city and we got like a food in a restaurant, and I'm like, how do people survive here?
Like, I just, no matter how you feel about that, and like, I think a lot of people were generally positive about his move because they're like, again, a lot of English people in particular were like, he's one of the best goal scorers they've ever had, and for him not to win anything would kind of, no matter what, make people look at his legacy a little bit differently. Whether that's fair or not, again, like, it's a team sport, but accolades matter, et cetera, et cetera. That's not the debate we're having here. Then again, I pose to you, is his Bundesliga title and the German Cup that took him 2 seasons to win, mind you, because he lost the first year to Xabi Alonso's Bayern Leverkusen, are they worth more than this Europa League trophy that Son won? It's hard for me to say that it is. And that's no disrespect to the German league. It's no disrespect to the German Cup. But there really is no like, we knew Bayern was eventually going to win again. like it was actually a surprise when Leverkusen won. Everyone was like, damn. That's what made that's why Alonso is the hottest coaching the hottest coaching manager in town when he was about to be able to be a manager. It's why Liverpool wanted him. If he went to Liverpool, we don't get Arne Slot, we get Xabi Alonso, et cetera, domino effect. So is that trophy really meaningful? No. Is Harry Kane a Bayern Munich legend because he won it? No. But for Spurs, it's different. That trophy was one of their first major trophies in a while. It was their first European trophy since like 1980, I think, or 1970, when they won one of the UEFA Cups. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
if I was a fan, and I say this I know I cheer for teams that win a lot, but in the one sport that I don't, the Saints, like everyone on that team to me is super special because they've won one Super Bowl in their entire history of being a team, and I got to see it and I got to see the player. So to me, Drew Brees is the best quarterback of all time because he did that, and I remember how it felt when he beat Peyton Manning and all that stuff. So like, even though who knows, we might draft the best new quarterback in the world in like a few years. We're gonna be bad for a while. If that guy never wins, am I ever gonna put him over Drew Brees, even if he has more numbers, even if he like is more the face of the league than my guy? No, because my guy won something. He in sports, you're looking for that. You're looking for those moments. What's Harry Kane's best moment? When they made it to the Champions League final, probably. You know who
Yeah.
else was on that team? Young Min Sung. Like, so,
Yeah.
so every good moment that Harry Kane even has in a Spurs shirt, Son was there beside him, helping him, also playing really well. Son's also
Yeah.
fourth all time in goals. This isn't like a gap of like whatever. To me, this is very similar to how I see like is
He's
Ben
fourth all time in Premier League or Spurs?
Spurs goals, not Premier League
Okay.
goals, Spurs goals. To me, it's how I see the Benzema Ronaldo thing. Cristiano
I
Ronaldo,
was just gonna say, yeah.
much better player, obviously. Cristiano Ronaldo is depending on how you want to look at it, is at the very least in like the top 4 best players of all time. It's really just him, Messi, Maradona, and
Pele.
Pele. Again,
Yeah.
and
Or
like again,
R9.
and
Yeah.
R9, and I put R9 there. Some people think because he had like a short career, got hurt, whatever. Again, but those are the 5. I think that everybody universally agrees are fighting for the best players of all time.
Yeah.
So he's up there, but I think Benzema's a much bigger Real Madrid legend, and I think it's
Yeah.
because of the fact that he stayed. He had the Ballon d'Or season. He won that Champions League, and he has a deeper connection to the fans. So I don't see how Son couldn't be considered a bigger Spurs legend with a trophy win, but that's just my opinion. I don't know if you have an opinion.
I think you. I think we generally agree. Yeah, I'll just piggyback on a couple of points, not to repeat a lot of things you said. I think Harry Kane is the best player, arguably. I mean, there's Glenn Hoddle, and I think Gary Lineker also played for Spurs.
He did, yeah.
You could argue that they're up there in terms of the best player in Spurs history. I think most fans would agree that Kane is the best player that Spurs have ever produced in terms of their own academy. I think Son overall, I always really, really liked Son. I think he was, overall, when you look at his career, he was a good to great player that had times of being an excellent player, but unfortunately his form in some seasons let him down. A lot of times, Son and Kane were the most dangerous duo in the entire Premier League. And just like Ruben said, that anytime Kane was winning matches and scoring a bunch of goals and them getting to finals and unfortunately not winning them, Son was right there next to him. So when you look at legends and players who have won, we look at obviously the trophies that they've won. That's the biggest thing as well. But also you look at what they did for their club. Son could have left, like 100%. There was interest. I don't care if necessarily it wasn't reported as much. 100% there was interest in Son once Kane left, because the teams were probably like, okay, well, the rebuild starting in Tottenham. But he chose to stay. The day of, I'm paraphrasing this guy on this YouTube video I watched from the club, the podcast there. He was a Spurs fan. He says the day that they sell, like a day or two after they sell Kane, Son signs a contract extension. Yeah. And he's like, that's huge. And yes, he won. He won the first actual trophy in X amount of years. So I don't see really how he isn't a bigger club legend than Harry Kane is. Harry Kane is arguably one of the best Premier League players of all time. Son isn't in that argument, unfortunately. But just like Ruben said, to me, Ronaldo is my GOAT. That's my opinion. But I even understand, and I feel when people ask me, who is a bigger club legend, Benzema or Ronaldo? Deep down, I know it's Benzema. I can say that also for Sergio Ramos. Even Raul, who won nowhere near as many trophies as these guys. I would still argue that he holds a place in the hearts and pulls on the heartstrings of Real Madrid fans in a way that Ronaldo never did or never will. I think it's unanimous that people know that Ronaldo was one of, if not the best player that played for Real Madrid. Like, there's
Yeah.
arguments about that. If it's R9 or if it's him or Di Stefano, whoever.
Again, at that point, you're splitting hairs. Any Real Madrid 11 is putting Ronaldo on the left
Yeah,
or through the middle. So then it depends
yeah,
on who else you want with him. Like that's
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I just think I think it's Son. I think you appreciate what Kane did for the Premier League, for English football, for an English talent. You appreciate what he did for Tottenham, but at the end of the day, I don't value the Bundesliga title and the whatever else you said he won.
the DFK Pokal.
Yeah,
the cup.
DFK Pokal. In
And who
Germany,
knows?
anywhere.
He might win the German Super Cup this season. He didn't win it last year. Still, I think Bayern still beat them.
Yeah, so
he might win the German Community Shield.
listen, I understand. I understand that Son didn't have the best season last year. I understand that that final was one of the worst footballing games I have actually seen in recent history. But they won, and Son was on the team, and he contributed, and I think that's basically the argument that's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very. I thought of another parallel while you were saying your thing. It's very Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. Like Kevin Durant, best player that ever played in Oklahoma City, like 100%. Yeah. It's not even close. Like Kevin Durant also has a shout to be one of the best players to ever play, like just talent wise. I don't think anyone would argue he's a bigger Oklahoma City legend than Russell Westbrook, who also signed a contract almost like immediately after Kevin Durant left. Because
listen, I was a big Oklahoma City fan during that time. Once they started, once they moved to Oklahoma City and they got the new jerseys and they started playing really well, I basically hopped on the bandwagon, whatever you want to call it. I hate Kevin Durant. I hate Kevin Durant. Yeah. I can't. I get Westbrook has his issues 100%, and he likely contributed to them not winning with his, selfishness and wanting to be the guy, and et cetera, et cetera.
100%.
I hate Durant. I respect you as one of the best players in NBA history, as the best arguable scorer. If you ask, listen to podcasts, every single NBA player says he's the hardest player to defend. I hate that move. I just think it was so weak. Yeah. Just go anywhere else. But anyway, that's for another day.
Yeah, I mean, we hit everything we wanted to hit. A lot of transfers. We're a week away from the start of the Premier League season, of La Liga, of everything. The window still isn't closing, so there might still be a couple moves. Obviously, if Isak does move, we're going to talk about it in whatever episode that lines up with. Seems like Rodrigo is staying, so it's a good thing we never really talked about the potential moves, because I mean, you do never know. There's still a couple weeks. Maybe someone will fly in at the last minute and try to buy him, but it does seem unlikely now, because it doesn't seem like anyone's going to pony up the money that Real Madrid want.
Yeah, I mean, never count out deadline day. Was Di Maria left on deadline day, right?
Yeah. But I don't think PSG is going to buy Rodrigo.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
I don't think they'll buy Rodrigo. But this was a good episode. This one will be out probably early next week, because I guess I could say this to Cheyenne on the mic. Tomorrow I'm going to release the first episode that we recorded, and then Saturday we'll release the other one. So this one probably drop it on a Tuesday, and then we'll record the preview and drop that.
It's Tuesday, ain't it, bruv?
Exactly. And then for the prediction ones, which will probably be a little smaller unless there's some major news to talk about, we'll drop that one on Friday before the league starts, and then we're off to the races, and it's all gravy from there.
Yeah, I guess we'll do top 4 predictions in the Premier League, or probably La Liga as well, something like that.
Yeah. We'll just do the I mean, fuck, I'm down to do the top 6 in the Prem.
Yeah,
because I think it's
Nottingham Forest,
Premier League champions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nottingham Forest, Sunderland, Brentford.
In a parallel universe, we exist. That happens. Yeah, it'll be fun.
It's exciting. Hey, real games are starting to come. Games that matter. Arsenal's playing United first week of the season, so I'm sure that no one will have an outsized reaction no matter what happens. Actually, considering I just tipped my hand saying that Sheshko is going to have a better year than Gyökeres. I wonder if Amarim can get him up to speed. Šeško
Yeah.
hat trick to beat Arsenal.
That would be so funny if like Šeško has a better season than Gyökeres. It was just such an Arsenal thing, and it turns out it's like, oh, the guy that everybody doubted that you should have bought was the one that you should have bought.
Well, it would be vindication for Arteta. He wanted
Yeah.
Šeško more than anybody, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, honestly, I just want to get to the football. I'm tired of these like these players wanting out. You know, back in my day, you stayed and you fought for the jersey. I want real football back before the woke movement.
before the game's gone too woke.
We had commentators cursing and saying racist remarks, and it didn't matter. They had their job, and Unk is now gone.
Damn, Shannon Sharp justice is coming out.
I'm mad.
Anyway. Jesus Christ.
Oh boy. Just
Okay.
derailed the show.
That's but yeah. Any last words besides that? Are you good?
Besides the death of football from woke movement.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. Honestly, yeah. Like I love the transfer saga, but yeah, I'm ready for it to start. It's gonna be exciting. Yeah, I'm down to do like top 8, even top 10 in the Premier League. We'll do La Liga as well. We actually haven't talked that much about Real Madrid and La Liga. We did a little bit on the other episode, so
yeah,
we'll probably
we did some of it on the couple.
We have to give you the Real Madrid and La Liga fix. So
yeah.
Anyway, we hope you enjoyed. We hope you have a great day. We hope you're loyal to your clubs and don't demand unfair transfer moves.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add, Ruben?
No, you nailed it all. Yeah, we're excited for the season. Excited to keep making this, and see you next time on Touchline Banter.
Cheers, guys.